This week on the Media Boss Podcast.
Linking the tool, that's my specialty. But you have to guide me about what you'd like the tool to perform for you. And that way I will be able to help you improve your profile, build a stronger presence, understand who to connect with, have a good content.
Media Boss Podcast is brought to you by two of our new partners. One is Pantheon. I can't wait to tell you about them later. And brought to you by Convert and Flow. You're going to learn so much about them. But now it's time for the Media Boss Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Media Boss Podcast. I am Dr. Barrett Matthews, and I am happy to have you here today. We've got a great show as usual, and I got a great guest as usual. As you all know, we have some great content on the Media Boss Podcast. And for those of you who want to know what is the Media Boss Podcast, well, what the Media Boss Podcast is this. We want you, if you're a business owner and you're looking to get your message out to more people, if you're looking to find new clients and find out where they are, what we want to do is make it so that you're findable to them. And we do that by using media. We want to show you how that you can use all forms of media to make it so that when someone is looking for you in whatever form they're looking in, you're there. So what we want to do is make you what we call a media boss. That's what the Media Boss Podcast is about. So I have some great guests on here. They talk about the different various forms of media to show you how you can use them for your business as well. Now, what we want you to do is make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast and make sure you are sharing the Media Boss Podcast with all the people you know so they can take advantage of this information, this content that you are getting as well. Now, I like to start off every Media Boss Podcast with what I call the Media Minute. Now, what is the Media Minute? The Media Minute is where I take some time to share with you either some news, some information, a tip, or something that can help you as far as media. And today, I want to give you this tip. If you are doing a podcast, a broadcast, whether it be live or recorded, and it's your first time doing it, second time doing it, even third time doing it, make sure that you're rehearsing some things. Make sure you're practicing how you're going to look, how you're going to sound. Don't go in there, unless you've got lots and lots of experience, don't go in there blindly thinking that you know how you're going to handle it. Because one thing people don't know is that when it comes to doing interviews or hosting things like this, a lot of times the time actually can be a detriment to you if you don't know what you're doing. 5 minutes is a long time to talk. People think, oh, you got 5 minutes. And a lot of times people say, oh, that's real quick. No, 5 minutes is a long time for you to have to talk. I've seen people fall on their face because they couldn't even last for 5 minutes talking. So what I want to have you do is rehearse what you have to do so that you'll know that you'll be prepared for anything that comes your way. That is the Media Minute for today. Now, I want to bring on my guest, and he's hailing all the way from Israel, guys. That's right. This is an international podcast. We got someone from Israel. Daniel Alfon is a LinkedIn expert. Remember I told you we're going to talk about media? Well, we're talking social media, and this is a social media that business people definitely need. He is an author. That's right. He's an author. He's a social media expert. He's been there for well over a decade, and he's been doing so much to help people learn how to use LinkedIn to grow. And I think you need to listen to him. So I want to welcome to the Media Boss Podcast, none other than Daniel Alfon. Daniel, welcome to the Media Boss Podcast.
Wow, Dr. Barth, thank you very much for an amazing introduction. You made my day.
I made your day. Didn't take much, huh?
Thank you very much for having me on the Media Boss.
No problem at all. No problem at all. So I want to get right into it because I was just talking to someone yesterday, and they were saying that they dabble in LinkedIn, but they're not that great in LinkedIn. And I seem to run into more people that say that they're mostly on Facebook or Instagram, but they have a LinkedIn account, but they don't really know what to do with it. Do you run into that a lot, people?
I'm afraid so, yes. Many users have joined LinkedIn and struggle with how to leverage the platform, especially entrepreneurs. And the thing is that one quick way to look at it is that many entrepreneurs, many podcasters look at LinkedIn as a place to post your CV or your online resume. So we would see that you worked for company XYZ between 2020 and 2021. But as a business owner, instead of looking at LinkedIn as a CV, you need to think of it as an extension of your website.
An
As,
extension.
yeah. If I wanted to launch a podcast, for me, what is important is that you see that you know what you're talking about and that you've been in this business for a long time and you can help me, and not know whether you started with Metro Public Adjustment in 2012 or 2010. This is less relevant for me. So simply switch the way you look at a platform and ask yourself 3 quick questions. 1, who's your ideal reader? So Dr. Barrett, who would be your ideal reader on LinkedIn? LinkedIn has close to 860 million users, and every second 3 people sign up. Who would be your ideal reader if you could pick one category?
Speakers.
Excellent. So imagine we could make all speakers visit your profile. What action would you like them to perform after they read your profile?
I would like them to go to a complimentary training that I have for them to see what I'm about.
Excellent. So let's see the third question. The third question is, are we making it as easy as possible for speakers or for our ideal readers to immediately understand that you can help them and that you are part of the solution? And when I visit your own profile, what I see is an amazing banner with you speaking to an audience. This takes 10 seconds to upload, and it brings everyone is in the right page, because we immediately grasp that speaking is something that you are passionate about and have experience in, without even reading anything from not the headline, not anything else. And you will be amazed to see that many entrepreneurs have not uploaded any banner. They stay with the ugly colorish thing. Think about the readers and try to help them understand. And a visually appealing banner is a great first step to make a great impression, and then they read a bit more. And your headline, instead of saying Media Boss Pro owner or co-founder or something like that, it says, drive your competition crazy with what I will teach you about media when you hire me. So this creates, it's intriguing. We don't know exactly what, but it makes us want to dive a bit more into it and scroll. And if you make people scroll, then more and more speakers will see the featured element that you added, the 5 ways to paying clients.com website that you link to, which media that you added to the various experience sections, your podcast weekend they will find out there, and more of them are likely to convert. And as you know, the conversion is likelier to happen on your website.
Gotcha. So let me ask you, when you're dealing with people and you go through their LinkedIn like that to go over what they have, how many of them are open to change?
That's a great question. If you're not open to change, I don't think you need to hire anyone to work with, because even the clients you work with as speakers, if I thought that as a speaker I'm gold and I have nothing more to improve, then you would find it very difficult to make me improve. And I think most people, most clients I start working with do have a wish to change. They may have lots of questions about the tactics, but there's a trigger event that made them come to us.
Yeah.
The trigger event may have been a happy experience where for the first time they spoke in front of a stage, and now they have it's like the first time you jumped from height or you made something extreme. Before that, you were not aware of the dangers, and now you say, wow, I want to do this, but now I'm start thinking and I want someone to guide me professionally, and this is the stage they may reach out to you.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So, do you, if someone is just starting and they say, I want to just get up a LinkedIn profile, what are the first things you're telling them they should be doing?
You find funny, but the first discussion I have with them is not about LinkedIn at all. It's about their business and what they want to achieve. Imagine I would jump in and start optimizing your profile without knowing whether speakers are your primary audience or someone else. So forget about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the tool. That's my specialty. But you have to guide me about what you'd like the tool to perform for you. And that way I will be able to help you improve your profile, build a stronger presence, understand who to connect with, have a good content strategy, generate leads on LinkedIn. But everything starts from you, from your objectives. And if you have no objectives, or the objectives are not niched enough, then it may be difficult. Some entrepreneurs are they're afraid to make a choice, so they want to cater to everyone. They want to cater to speakers, but also want to cater to A, B, and C, and D, and then you end up having very little attraction to anybody. So know who you'd like to work with, and then we can help you use the LinkedIn behemoth in a good way.
Do you find that most people know who they want to work with?
I'm not sure I will say most of them know. There's a good chunk that knows exactly when they wake up at 4 a.m. they say, yes, this metro area, this this demographics, these technological traits, but there are probably maybe 20 or 30% who are still defining their niche. And
okay, so what could someone do? Like, what are like 3 things that you know of right now that if someone is on LinkedIn that can actually help them get results for their business? What are some changes that they can make that that you run into all the time?
Excellent. So let's say this. When you look at your profile headline, the profile headline for most people will be the title of the current position and the name of the current employer. Now, for a job seeker, that may work. Okay, if you're an operation manager, then the title operation manager certainly speaks to your ideal reader if you'd like to be promoted to be a director of operation. But if you're an entrepreneur, it's best for you to optimize that headline and make it more about your ideal reader. So say, I help X achieve Y. I help speakers leverage podcasts. I help shy people be able to address ABC. So if I'm the target audience, this is a lot more interesting for me than knowing the name of the company you work for. When the name of the company is not a door opener, it's not a household name, then forget about the name of the company and simply explain how you can help those people. And a second very quick suggestion would be to ask someone, ideally, Barrett, someone you're not connected to on LinkedIn, to bring you up either in a Zoom call or simply take their smartphone and log into LinkedIn and go to your profile. Yeah. And then you simply ask the permission to look at what they do when they visit your profile. Okay. And that person will behave in a certain way that in some cases you could not expect. You would think that they would scroll and they would click here, but 3 people do something else. They stop and they ask you, okay, what did you mean when you said X? Media. What is media for you? It's very tempting to answer those questions. But what I would advise you is actually to forget about it, to say, fine, let's go on. What would you do if I were not here? And only after those people tell you what they would do, show you what they would do, then you try to explain to them. And if you realize that many of your target audience have difficulty understanding the terms we're using, then it's our responsibility to use terms that they understand and to maybe move the jargon to a lower section. Okay, they want more business, well, I'm speaking about business. They want more speaking gigs, I will speak about speaking gigs. And because you know so much about your topic, in some cases, you may use terms that novices will not think about. So ask someone to bring up your LinkedIn profile and ask for their permission to see what they're doing. And if what they're doing does not correlate with what you wanted, thank them, go back to LinkedIn and try to provide the information in the right order, at the right pace for them to know Dr. Barrett is someone that can help us.
Wow, that was good. That was good. So let me ask you, is there a strategy that you have as far as engaging with people or connecting with people on LinkedIn?
Yes, sir. There are three sort of connection strategies we could mention briefly. One is to go for quantity. That means you need to have, as soon as possible, 30,000 connections or followers. And the greatest upside is exposure. When you have 40,000 connections and you share something, then even if 2% see it, it's still 800 people. It's a good amount. The second strategy would be to go for quality. That means I know X people, you know X people. Some of them are on LinkedIn. I'm only going to connect with those people. The greatest upside of a quality network is that whenever I run a search and I see someone interesting with whom I share a mutual connection, that means I'm able to reach out to that person and ask them whether they can help me speak with you. I was listening to an episode you released on the Media Boss with Michael Whitehouse.
Oh, yeah.
You know this guy. So imagine I look at your profile and I see Michael Whitehouse and I'm connected with Michael Whitehouse. Then what I could do is leave LinkedIn, email or message Michael and say, would you mind putting me in touch with Dr. Barrett? And if he says yes, the first 5 seconds of attention I would get are thanks to Michael Whitehouse name, not mine.
Right.
Because I think you would pay more attention to a message coming from him. So if we mention quantity and quality, there's a third option, and that's probably the worst. Starting with quality, deciding we need to get to a quantity, but never reaching a quantity. And that means often people think that when they have 2,000 connections, it's exposure, but the trouble is most LinkedIn users are only visiting the platform occasionally. So if I had 200 connections and I knew all of them well, I could be introduced to 1,000 speakers.
Yeah.
And if I had 40,000 connections, then whenever I shared something, many people will see it. But imagine I had 4,000. From my perspective, it looks like a great exposure. But 2% of 4,000 is still 80 people. That's not a lot. It would be a lot easier to message 80 people than to add 3,000 connections. So pick one strategy, either quality or quantity. And a short way to consider this is ask yourself, if you had to pick one in 3 years' time, would you like to be the most connected or the best connected?
Gotcha. Wow. Daniel, I'm learning a lot from you, man. I really am. And I hope the listeners are learning a lot as well as I am. Look, we're going to take a break here, guys, on the Media Boss podcast. We're going to come back with more of Daniel Alfon here. So stay right where you are. We'll be right back with more. How are you going to learn everything you need to know about starting a podcast? Well, at the Create Your Podcast Weekend, we put it all in 2 days and help you get your podcast going by next week. That's right, by next week. All you have to do is come to the Create Your Podcast Weekend and let us show you how to get your podcast up and running. We will show you how to attract listeners. We will show you how to get people to pay you for your products and services. What products and services? The products and services we show you how to create, all at the Create Your Podcast Weekend. All you have to do is go to createyourpodcastweekend.com and get registered today. And we have special bonuses. Some of you will even get us to give you the equipment to start your podcast. That's right. We're going to give some of you the podcasting equipment to get started. Go to createyourpodcastweekend.com. That's createyourpodcastweekend.com and get started on your podcast by next week. Starting a podcast can be a daunting task. There's a lot that goes into it, and you're probably wondering if you're able to handle it. Well, why don't you just take 2 days and let us teach you how to do it at the Create Your Podcast Weekend. That's right. We're going to show you all the aspects of how to start your podcast, how to keep your podcast going, how to attract listeners, and how to make money with your podcast. CreateYourPodcastWeekend.com. Get registered right now. Do you have a podcast? Would you like to have it heard by more and more people? Well, Pantheon is the way to go. Unlock the right mindset and tactics with our program. Create momentum with repurposed content. Get paid to build your business. And with Pantheon, we'll even show you how to have a team around you that gives you a community of encouragement. Check out Pantheon today.
You and me together, we could be anything.
Hey guys, I want to tell you a little bit about Pantheon. Man, let me tell you, the Media Boss podcast is so successful right now, partly because of the work that we put in with our new partner, Pantheon. They have helped us to grow our listenership. Our downloads for our podcast have increased substantially over just the last 4 to 6 months because of our partnership with Pantheon. Let me tell you, they have made it so that we can do our work in creating great content for you guys while they help us to grow. They work tirelessly behind the scenes, making it so people are more interested in what we're putting out as far as the podcast. They put systems in place. They do training. They show us how to attract more people, and they're making it happen for us. Look, if you guys want to learn more about how to do that for yourselves or for your podcast, I suggest that you get together with the people at Pantheon. I'll set up a meeting myself with them so you can do that. Connect with me, and let's find out how you can get going with Pantheon yourself for you and your podcast. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Media Boss Podcast. I'm Dr. Barrett Matthews, and we're having a ball today learning about LinkedIn with my friend Daniel Alfon, all the way from Israel on talking to us today. And he knows LinkedIn, guys. He knows LinkedIn. So Daniel, I got to find out about your book, man. Tell us about your book.
With pleasure. At one point, I wanted to encapsulate the knowledge I had about LinkedIn profiles, and it made me I had to put a system to the ideas I had in my mind, because back then I was giving a lot of workshops, and what I found the hard way was that it could be a great lecturer, but the written media is different. You need to take a different pace. You need to cross ideas from one chapter to another. Initially, Dr. Matthews, when I was buying a book on Amazon, and then I saw, are you an author? Click here. And I clicked and I saw that it wasn't, I could simply upload a file. So I said, okay, in 2 weeks, I'll have something. And lo and behold, 2 years later, I had a book.
So tell us, first of all, what's the name of the book?
Build a LinkedIn profile for business success.
LinkedIn, that's really easy to and it's to the point. It tells you what it's about. I like that. Have you gotten a lot of good feedback from it?
Yes, it was an amazing experience. Being an author does not translate into huge revenues unless you're a real, if we're not Stephen King, then we're not doing this for the Amazon dollars. But it does help our authority. It gives us a lot more thought leadership, and basically people stopped negotiating when they knew I was an author of the book. So it was worth doing.
Fantastic. Now, before I let you go, I got to ask you, is there anything that you are promoting, anything you want the audience to take advantage of that you're doing?
Thank you very much. Simply going to danielalfon.com and check the store. There are a number of downloads and one-on-one options there, and I would be happy to speak with them.
Excellent. Thank you once again for joining us here on the Media Boss Podcast, man. I learned so much from you. And guys, make sure you check out his book. Daniel, give the title one more time, please.
With pleasure. Build a LinkedIn profile for business success.
For business success. All right. We want business success. All right. So Daniel, thank you once again for joining us on the Media Boss podcast. We definitely appreciate your time, my friend.
Thank you very much.
All right. All right. So guys, guess what? I've got something for you. And it's my complimentary gift, 5 Ways to Paying Clients. Go to www.5waystoPayingClients. It's my complimentary gift to you. Take advantage of that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to be getting out of here in a second. You know how we get out of here on the Media Boss podcast. But right now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more of the Media Boss podcast. Why should you contact Media Boss Club right now? Well, because you can get a podcast done for you. You can learn all the aspects that go into putting together a great podcast and have someone else do it for you. That's right. We will build your podcast around your content and make it so you can concentrate on the money-making activities of your business. Contact MediaBossClub.com. That's MediaBossClub.com today and let us get your podcast started right now. Let's face it, you've been talking about starting a podcast for quite some time, but you haven't started yet. Why is that? Could it be that you just don't have the time because your day-to-day keeps you so busy? Or could it be that you don't want to learn all the technical aspects that go into putting together a quality podcast? Well, at Media Boss Club, we take care of that for you. How would you like to have a done-for-you experience? That's right. At Media Boss Club, we build your podcast for you. We will edit your podcast. We will put in the music for you. We even put in commercial breaks that you can put your advertisers in. We will take care of all of the uploading to the great podcast platforms that are out there. That's right, we do everything. All you have to do is just right now go to MediaBossClub.com. That's MediaBossClub.com and let us handle the heavy lifting for you. Do you have a podcast? Would you like to have it heard by more and more people? Well, Pantheon is the way to go. Unlock the right mindset and tactics with our program. Create momentum with repurposed content. Get paid to build your business. And with Pantheon, we'll even show you how to have a team around you that gives you a community of encouragement. Check out Pantheon today.
You and me together, we could be anything.
Hey everybody, the Media Boss podcast has been brought to you by our partners, Pantheon and Convert and Flow. Make sure you get with us so you can find out more about how you can help your business run smoothly with Pantheon and Convert and Flow. Welcome back to the Media Boss podcast, everybody. I'm Dr. Barrett Matthews, and I told you my show was great today. We had a great guest. Daniel Alfon was fantastic, and I want to make sure you guys are getting some more out of this. You got some great content, but guess what? If you want more, go to patreon.com. Patreon.com/Media Boss Podcast and support the show. We got some great perks for you guys for supporting our podcast. Also, I just gave you guys a free gift, 5 Ways to Paying Clients. 5 Ways to Paying Clients. I know you're tired of getting people to come to you that don't want to pay you. Let's get some paying clients. How about that? If those of you who really want to grow and become a media boss, then I suggest taking my 5-day challenge. It's called the Make Money from Media Challenge. Make Money from Media Challenge. I recommend that you go ahead and get registered for that today. It's simple. MakeMoneyFromMediaChallenge.com. And I'm telling you, if you come in as a VIP, we have even more for you. So I suggest that you put yourself at the front of the line and be a VIP. Now, also, if you're interested in having your own podcast, especially one that might be done for you, go to just text me. Text the word podcast. Text the word podcast to this number, 929-244-4323. That's 929-244-4323. Text the word podcast and let's talk about getting you a podcast yourself. And lastly, guys, make sure you're subscribing to the Media Boss podcast. Make sure you're sharing it with all of your friends and all of your family. Make sure you do that right now. So what are we going to do when we get out of here? You know what we do. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Media Boss out.